character, Ruka. So time starts when I say start, which I just did, so you should have started. So welcome to Run and Gun Block, by the way. In this game, I will be doing a lot of running and a lot of gunning. So immediately, you might notice this game shares more than a passing resemblance to Gunstar Heroes. And that's okay, because that's a good game. If you're going to rip off one game completely, that's not the worst game to rip off. I quite like Gunstar Heroes. But I only run PS1 games, so I have to run Gunner's Heaven instead. Which, you know, it's a decent consolation prize, because this is actually a pretty fun run. This is the first boss, by the way. And I'm going to demonstrate why I choose Ruka over Axel, and that's that Ruka's bomb kills bosses really fast. That's the main difference between the two characters. All four of their weapons are different, but the determining factor in the speedrun is Ruka's bomb, and that it just completely shreds bosses. Axel's bomb is pretty worthless as far as speedrunning goes. Like it's just like a full screen attack, and that's great for a casual playthrough, but for me, it doesn't really do much. And I also don't like Axel's guns. Ruka's guns are much more straightforward. Like it's just like a flamethrower. I can deal with that. And at some point, I'm going to explain how the ammo system works. I think this is as good a time as any. So if you look at the top center of the screen, you're going to see a little box that says power. It's got a 13 in it currently. So enemies drop little crystals, you might have noticed. And if I pick those crystals up, they go into my power. And as long as I have power, my weapons are basically twice as strong. So you always want power, but you always want to go fast. So you want to kill enemies, but you don't want to slow down to kill up their power-ups. So basically, you try and kill as many things as possible without slowing down. Because if you're without power, which I actually was earlier in this level, because I missed a 10 power-up. If you're without power, you really feel neutered in terms of your DPS. Also, you can, while I'm here, just waiting for the boss to spawn, you can slide. You've got this cool grappling hook thing. It's a cool game. That's like the full extent of the movement tech. You slide and you shoot and you grapple sometimes. So here comes the first boss. I don't know what their names are. Someone does. As far as the game's concerned, their name is Guardian. So for the most part, there's two weapons that I'm going to be using to kill bosses. There's the flamethrower, which is, on a whole, just the most consistent weapon to deal damage because it's the most flexible. It pierces through enemies, and it's the best for dealing damage to far-away things. If I just want pure DPS, in situations where I can get point blank, I want to use the green gun, the bubble gun, but only if I can get point blank. And all other times, I want to use the flamethrower as much as possible. The normal shot and the homing shot are also in the game. That's about as useful as they are. So that's level 1 done. Guardian crushed. Off to a great start. Level 2 is a little hectic. I call it something different when I'm streaming, but here I'm going to say hectic. But there's a lot of enemies and a lot of projectiles to deal with. All the while, you want to be building up your power, too. I got through that segment relatively painlessly. So we got a little mini-boss here. He's pretty easy. There's rare footage of the homing shot being used. And here's the bubble gun being used point blank, as I previously explained. And that's that guy down. He was a good boss. I like him. People listening, they might also notice that the music is like incredibly cacophonous. That's because, for those not familiar, most PS1 runs are done on PlayStation 2s because PS2s have an option called fast disk speed that dramatically increases, or I guess it decreases, I should say, loading times. I need that bomb. Don't worry about me taking a bunch of hits like a noob. I told myself before I even started doing this run, I would grab this full health power up, regardless of how the run was going. So all according to plan. What was I talking about just now? Oh yeah, the music. So fast disk speed, it reduces loading times. But for Gunner's Heaven and for a couple other games, but Gunner's Heaven is really the most unfortunate one that I run. This is a pretty uncommon problem, but the music plays twice as fast when I'm using fast disk speed, so it sounds really awful. And this game also has two separate soundtracks. It has soundtrack A and soundtrack B. This is soundtrack A. Soundtrack A sounds a little better in fast disk speed, so that's why I use it. You don't want to listen to soundtrack B in fast disk speed. But once the music loops once, the music starts to play at its normal speed, which is pretty interesting. Oh, also, that was another boss. The chameleon fella. I don't like him. So I have full health, so I'm just going to damage boost through this entire section. There's really no reason to bother to even entertain the thought of trying to dodge that bit. And I just slide my way to the next actual end level boss. So I'm going to explain my bomb usage. At the bottom right of the screen, you're going to see a big letter B that stands for bomb. And we, and I say we because two people are in this game, myself and another runner, Spearreacts. And really it was he more than we. But anyway, the logic behind when we use our bombs is we use them to skip, what am I doing? Phases of like boss invulnerability and stuff like that. So this boss has another phase, but using a strategically placed bomb right there, we skip it. And we crush the Guardian, which is much preferable to fighting the second phase of that boss fight. I'm not a big fan of it. All right, so this next level, remember when I said this game resembles Gunstar Heroes? Well, it also resembles the unfortunate parts of Gunstar Heroes, which is the auto-scroller levels. So, host, that is your cue. Welcome to auto-scroller.
You got it. We have a $20 donation from Anonymous that simply says, "Hey, caveman, donating to tell you that I love you with all my heart. Let's fight cancer together."
Oh, thank you. What was the name? Anonymous?
Anonymous, yes. Someone wanted to show you their love, just not to give their name.
Thank you, Anonymous.
We also have a $20 donation from Did You Know Gaming that said, "Rapid Reload is an absolute jam, that is. Was surprised to see this from the developers who brought us Wild Arms. Keep up the great run."
Well, thank you, Did You Know Gaming, for illuminating who made this game, the developers of Wild Arms. I could go for another donation. How about you guys? Just one, though. Let's not get carried away.
Why not? You know, we have a $150 donation from one Lando Calrissian.
Wow, the Lando?
Lee Lando.
Wow, thanks, Lando.
He simply says, "Way to go, buddy."
Oh, wow. I have gained a couch. This is amazing. This is unprecedented for a caveman run. Everyone give a warm GDQ welcome to my good friend Mid-Boss. Thanks, buddy. Oh, by the way, I'm fighting another boss. He's really easy. He's like the easiest boss in the game. Except, if you get hit by that attack, that kills you. Don't get hit by that attack. But this is another boss who's unfortunately very tall, so you can't get point blank with the shotgun, the bubble gun. That gun, that's the shotgun from now on, just so everyone knows. So you have to use the flamethrower. But I like the flamethrower, so it's not really a big loss in my book. So there's a lot more of this level left, so there's a lot more auto-scroller. But I think this, like, as far as auto-scrollers go, I think this one looks good because I just memorize where the enemies show up, so I kill them as soon as they pop on stream. Which I guess is not a completely inaccurate statement since I'm streaming this. But basically, yeah, flamethrower. You just hold square, and it's like, that's really all you. What are you doing? You having a good time? Oh, enemies, hold on. That is called hubris, ladies and gentlemen. I'm itching for, I'm going to say 2.5 donation comments. I threw him off with the half.
You know, I was looking for that half in there. It was a little tough to find.
Save it for the next auto scroll level. It's coming.
You got it. Actually, I had a question for you, Caveman.
What's up?
So I'm seeing a lot of wonderful running and gunning in here, and a lot of great skating around. Do you perchance know the story to this game at all?
I have no clue. I have no idea what the story of this game is.
You know, I just wanted to check.
It's in Japanese. I assume it's like bad guys, right? That's like a pretty common one for video games. Get the bad guys.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty common.
The story is, I saw this game on like Hidden Gems on Racket Boy or whatever, and I bought it because it looked cool. Now I speedrun it, and here we are at AGDQ. The rest is history. Actually, it's not even history. This is now. This is the present we're living in. This game has really amazing hitboxes, by the way. Like, this is my favorite one. Oh, it got me. So we got a boss coming up. The first phase, or I guess cycle, you actually fight from inside the boss, which is going to become a trend later in the run. But right now, you just get a little sneak peek. Oh, he hit me, wow. Abandoned ship. I was standing in the wrong spot, ever so slightly, so I got shot a couple times. Just to add a little element of drama to this otherwise straightforward boss. Because I'm an entertainer, ladies and gentlemen. Entertainer first, speedrunner second. That's my motto that I just came up with now. I do know that for some hot Gunner's Heaven lore, because I know everyone is fiending for that, this boss I'm fighting right now is the same boss, or is like the same guy. It's obviously a different boss. It's completely different. It's the same pilot that I fought in level 1. He's like, I don't know if he's like some sort of important character, but you fight him 3 times throughout the run. Now maybe they just couldn't draw 2 more characters. But I like to believe that he's some sort of antagonist. Oh, thanks. Wow. Who's back there? Oh, wow. We got a full house tonight, ladies and gentlemen. All right, level 4 is the hardest level in the game, and I might die. And that'll make me very sad. So little granny strat, but I kill those first 2 enemies. Very slowly and deliberately. The plan was to jump over that enemy. All right. I still have over half my health, so relatively painless. This mini-boss is harder than 90% of the actual bosses. This is probably like... No, it's not the hardest boss in the game. It's the third or fourth, at least. He's really scary. But the best way to beat him, of course, is to fight fire with fire. All right, now this is a little trick. I actually have to pay attention to this. All right, cool, he's dead. I wanted to drop that bomb as soon as he's vulnerable so I can skip that awful second phase. So now guess what? We got an elevator, which is really my favorite kind of auto-scroller as far as auto-scrollers go. But nonetheless, this is an auto-scroller, so let me have that half a donation comment I've been waiting on.
Did you know I actually managed to find one?
Did you?
It was a $10 donation from Dax187 that said, "It was me all along."
Thank you, Dax. I knew it was you. You were the anonymous... That's my girlfriend, everyone. It's the anonymous commenter who said that she loved me earlier. Not that anonymous people don't love me. It's like... It's a problem with being so good at games that people just love you. They just shower you with adoration and adulation and all other manner of adjectives.
How about we follow that up with a $20 donation from Stush that says, "Always love Caveman's runs. His dedication to the PS1 is inspiring. He can choose where the money goes."
Inspiring. Oh, runner's choice. I'm a nice guy. I always go with the whatever the next unmet incentive is, which I believe is Aladdin. So that's where I would like it to go.
Indeed it is. And we're getting very close to that 100% run. So thank you very much for your donations.
Oh, also, I didn't have time to mention this, but when you're grappling, I'll have time to mention this later, but when you use your grappling hook, you do have invincibility frames, which is how I was able to avoid that big laser wall. It's pretty good. It's like a sadly underused mechanic in the game, the grappling hook. Like, I feel like there could have been some really cool platforming sections with it. But mostly it's just for playing around. All right, I'm still alive, so that's a good sign. Oh, also, maybe people who this is relevant to have realized this during, like, watching speedruns, but seizure warning, like, legit, epilepsy, like, don't look at this. I hope I got that warning out in time. I really do. I call that attack the Porygon laser in memory of my favorite episode of Pokemon. Now, see, this boss is tricky because you've already seen what he does with that attack. With that attack, he shoots it a different direction, so you got to be on your toes for that. Thankfully, I've played this game before, so I've mastered it. And the levels still go... Hey, thank you, thank you. I heard an encouraging woo in the background. And that will speed me on to victory in this actual tricky part. Oh, I want that bomb, I really do. All right, there we go. Now this tank is a real jerk. He's ever so slightly far away enough to be really annoying to kill efficiently. Oh, also, most levels have that little boost thing at the end. You can't take it into the boss fight, though. So this boss fight, he has a pixel-perfect way to quick kill him And conveniently enough, you start the boss fight on the pixel. I'm gonna wait a little bit. There we go. Safety strats. So as long as I don't move from the position I start the fight in, I can do this. So that's very good. Shout outs to Speedrun for finding the pixel perfect quick kill. I found out that he had this elaborate setup that I couldn't be bothered to learn, so I just figured out that you start on this pixel. That was my contribution, laziness. Also, those big lasers, they do have visual cues, but the best way to do it is to just memorize them. Or memorize what the visual cues are. Either way, play the game more than once, and this boss fight shouldn't be too hard. All right, and that's level 4. I'm alive, so that's pretty great. That's a great place to be in. The crowd goes wild. All right, so level 5. I did say that last level was the hardest level, which implies that this one is not the hardest level. So let's see who's back here. Like, I'm not even going to pretend that this is like the most like high-octane, input-intensive level of any game I've ever played. But it's an amazing opportunity to hear some wonderful donations. Welcome to Gunner's Heaven. It's half auto stroller.
I've got a high-octane comment for you. I have a $20 donation from Anonymous that says, Caveman, you are my hero. I look forward to your runs more than any other at GDQ. I'll try to stop by your stream more often.
I'll try to stream more often.
Hope things are going well for you, and I wish you all the best in life. You are a good man. Never forget that.
Oh, wow, thanks. It's actually really nice. We've got a ways to go, my friend. Like, there's a lot to this level.
I can see. We have a $5 donation from Iggy Zig. It says, I love Caveman's runs at GDQ. His commentary is on point, and quite frankly, it takes me on a journey. Which I guess you can interpret how you will.
I like it though. However he meant it, I'm a big fan. I guess there's a lull, so I'll explain how you lock your aiming in this little flying section. You're supposed to hold L2 and do something, but I'm not really honestly sure. Like, it's a trick in and of itself to get your gun to stay in a position like that. Now that will be an element of drama when the boss appears that hopefully I don't have to deal with. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. As easy as this level is, it is wonderfully blessed with the hardest boss in the game. Oh, also there's no levels in this checkpoint, so if the hardest boss in the game somehow manages to kill me, guess what level we're doing the entirety of again? So an added bit of drama for any viewers falling asleep. Once I get to the boss, all hands on deck. It's a little more exciting. 'Cause if I die, it would be a catastrophe. I won't die though, just so anyone, in case anyone's questioning how good I am at this game. I'm really good. I'm like the best. I've checked. But it could happen. These are like really impressive looking robots that are like completely ineffectual enemies. I don't know why they spawn like up here and they start shooting up here where they couldn't possibly hit me. and then they just die. I feel bad for them, to be honest. But I'm glad they're in there because, like, they're easy to kill. They don't drop anything, though. They're worthless. They just give me high score. Wow. All right, so here's a wall of power-ups, including not one, but 2 full health power-ups with no enemies in between for whatever reason. So this is sort of your clue that some bad times are coming. But I did come up with something pretty creative. I don't need 2 full health power-ups yet. So I'm going to not grab that one and just bring it with me for a little bit. I might need it. So this boss, he's a 4-phase boss that you fight entirely from within his sprite. So that's a little exciting. As nonchalant as I've been, this is actually a little serious. All right, snag that full health power up. Come on, lock on, there we go. All right, now it's very important that I get that lock to the bottom, to down left. So I can do this. All right, last phase, and the hardest one. I have 1 bomb left, and at this point, it doesn't matter if I use it on him or the final boss. So I reserve the right to use my panic bomb if I need to. But from this point on, it's going to save the same amount of time whenever I use it. At least the way I use it. There's probably a better place to use it in the final boss. But alas, that's not what we're doing tonight. But I would prefer to do this fight without the panic bomb. And it looks like I'm going to be able to. Woo, there we go. Crisis averted. This is the run and gun block. I'm good at running guns. That's a shmup. That's a different genre that I'm not able to play well. So it's probably the easiest boss in the game for someone else. But for me, it's a try. I couldn't beat it in my casual playthrough. I had to learn how to speedrun before I could beat the game at all. And then I'm whisked away to the final boss by a series of triangles. This is actually a pretty cool final boss. Especially if you play a lot of like 90s 2D Japanese games, because he looks like every boss in every game. Like, if you've played like, here's the thing, stick around on the stream until Magical Poppin' happens, and tell me that the final boss is not the same guy. Like, look at him. That's every final boss ever. All right, so first phase is over. And now he goes to this completely ineffectual phase. If only he had the use of both of his hands, he might be able to pose a threat. But no, he doesn't. The key to this phase is to stay on the right side of the screen. Left side of the screen is a different story. It's a real attack if you're on the wrong side of the screen. Now this phase fully utilizes the invincibility frames you have while you're grappling. It's an exercise in futility to try and dodge this attack without just grappling through it. I suspect you're not even intended, like, you're probably supposed to grapple. That's probably what the developers wanted you to do. But I'm not them. There we go. It was one hit off. All right, so this is the last phase. Do you see how I strategically jumped back into that attack? You don't get that from any other runner. That's only the best of the best who do that. That's a taunt is what that was. That's how confident I am that this is a great run. Which actually, like, I say that. It's been pretty good so far. Let me just knock on some wood right here. This boss does a lot of damage if you let him. Okay, yep, all right. So another one of my famous taunts. That's all that is. Okay. Making it interesting. There, I was in control for all of that. It's not time, by the way, I'll let you know. It's an arbitrarily, look for his health bar, like the boss's health bar. When it disappears, that's time. I'll let you know. I'm very courteous. Time. 31:31, that's a cool time. And that, boys and girls, is how it's done. All right, hey, I have an interview, mid-boss. Could you take care of that?